Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, whatever time zone you're in. Welcome back to Sip and Talk. We are so incredibly excited to have you Sip and Talkers joining us today.
Yeah, it is a fantastic day. And I mean, we really have a fascinating chat lined up for you all.
We absolutely do. I am in such a great mood today. And, well, I just have to kick things off with this brilliant analogy I saw recently.
Oh, I love a good analogy. Lay it on me.
Okay, so imagine a Singaporean person, right? They arrive in New York, and they walk right up to an American and just confidently declare, I am culturally British.
Wait, culturally British?
Yeah. Because they say, back home, we speak English, we use the British civil service system, and we play cricket.
The American would be totally confused. They'd probably just stare and ask, bro, are you a UK citizen or not?
Exactly. It would be a complete navigational nightmare in a social setting. And that right there perfectly captures the absolute chaos of identity labels on the global stage.
Oh, for sure. It really highlights how language gets totally tangled up in international politics.
Right. So today on Sip and Talk, our whole mission is to unpack how personal identity labels, specifically the Chinese versus Taiwanese identity debate, cause massive geopolitical confusion.
And we really need to untangle how holding on to a historical label can, completely inadvertently become a weapon for an adversary.
Which is wild to think about.
It really is. But I want to be clear right out of the gate. This isn't about questioning someone's inner feelings or their personal cultural appreciation.
Right. It's not a personal attack at all.
No, not at all. It is about how language is rigidly locked into international politics. When you use a specific label, the world doesn't close its eyes and picture 5,000 years of beautiful poetry.
No. They definitely don't. They picture the daily geopolitical news flashing across CNN or the BBC.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I call this the realism of international context. The global stage operates on cold, hard reality, not romantic history.
I really like that term, the realism of international context. It grounds the whole thing.
Yeah, and to really dig into the mechanics of this, there's this concept called cognitive invasion.
Okay, cognitive invasion. That sounds like something out of a sci-fi movie.
I know, it does. But let's use a sports metaphor to break down the philosophy behind it. Imagine you are a player who transfers from Team C to Team T.
Okay, with Team C representing historic China, right? Like the pre-1949 Republic of China.
Yes, exactly. And Team T represents Taiwan. So you transfer over, but you still feel nostalgic for Team C. You miss the old jersey, the history of the franchise.
Which is totally fine, by the way. Nostalgia is a very normal human emotion.
Absolutely. But here is where it becomes a massive problem. You start standing up in public and declaring, actually, Team T is just a branch of Team C. We are all essentially Team C players.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that changes things completely.
Right. You are denying the native Team T players their own identity. This creates what we call a negative externality.
Negative externality, right. Like when a factory pollutes a river and the local fishermen just have to deal with the toxic water.
Precisely. In this scenario, the pollution is cognitive. It completely erases the identity and sovereignty of the native Team T players who have only ever played for Team T.
That is so unfair to them. Let me translate this into a super relatable everyday scenario. Think about renting a shared house with roommates.
Okay, I've had some terrible roommates, so I'm with you.
Right, so let's say we rent a place together. I can miss my old childhood home. I can frame pictures of it. I can talk about it all the time.
Sure, totally normal.
But I absolutely cannot go to the aggressive landlord next door and say, hey, actually, this shared house we're living in, it's fundamentally part of my old property. Feel free to come take it over.
Oh my gosh, your roommates would lose their mind.
They would. Yeah. Because I just directly threatened their right to have a roof over their heads tomorrow. I took my personal nostalgia and turned it into a threat against their physical security.
That is a perfect way to put it. You jeopardize the entire household for your own emotional comfort. And that shifts us perfectly into how this plays out in global diplomacy.
Right, because the international community has zero patience for nuance.
Not at all. In modern diplomacy and global media, we basically operate on the 3-second rule.
The 3-second rule? Wait, like dropping food on the kitchen floor?
Well, a little higher stakes than a dropped French fry. When a customs officer or a foreign journalist asks, where are you from? You have about 3 seconds to establish your political reality.
Okay, that makes sense. So saying Taiwan takes exactly 1 second. It's clean, precise, done.
Exactly. But the alternative is this massive semantic trap. If someone says, I am Chinese, the international listener immediately thinks of the PRC, Beijing.
Right, because that label has been completely monopolized on the global stage.
Totally. So then this person has to spend 10 minutes frantically explaining, wait, not that China? I mean the pre-1949 Republic of China, and I don't support the CCP.
And by the time they finish that massive historical thesis, the foreigner has already walked away to buy a hot dog.
Exactly. It is an absurdly high cost of communication.
It's exhausting just thinking about it. And honestly, if we look at this from our own American perspective, the danger is just glaring.
Oh, absolutely. Washington moves on clear signals.
Right. When we in the U.S. look at our ongoing tech war with China, or when we're passing our CHIPS Act, our big semiconductor bill.
Yeah, the CHIPS Act, it's a mouthful.
I always trip over that acronym. But when Washington is outlining policies to protect the first island chain, we rely on clear symbols. When the world hears Taiwan, we think of advanced semiconductors and democracies.
We think of a reliable global partner.
Exactly. But when we hear China, we think of geopolitical risk. We think of supply chain decoupling and national security threats.
So tying Taiwan to the China label voluntarily.
You're just dragging Taiwan right into an adversary's negative asset pool. You are essentially putting on the jersey of the team we are actively trying to de-risk from.
Why would anyone do that voluntarily?
Right. It makes no sense strategically.
Well, to be fair, we have to play devil's advocate for a second here. We need to look at the historical context of the older generation, like the old KMT demographic.
Yeah, that's a really important perspective to include.
We have to understand that they aren't maliciously trying to sabotage Taiwan. For them, that historic Team C identity is the foundation of their entire life's belief system.
It's their whole history.
Exactly. Abandoning that label feels like letting their history become a ghost. It's a profound identity crisis.
And I can absolutely empathize with that level of historical trauma. It is a heavy emotional burden to carry. But, and I say this firmly, reality will not wait for your emotional baggage to clear.
That is a harsh truth, but it is the truth.
We can understand the trauma, but we cannot let it become a strategic blind spot.
Because that blind spot is exactly what the CCP weaponizes. They don't want to debate 1949 history. They just want to utilize it for a modern takeover.
So how do they actually weaponize it? Because the mechanics of that are fascinating.
Yeah. It's all about conflation. The CCP wants to blur 5 distinct concepts together into one inseparable package.
Okay, break those 5 down for us.
First, you have Chinese culture.
Right, like the food, the lunar festivals, the language.
Exactly. Second is Chinese ethnicity, specifically the Han majority. Third is the Historical Republic of China, the ROC.
The entity that existed before 1949, got it.
Fourth is the modern People's Republic of China, the PRC. And fifth is the Chinese Communist Party itself.
Okay, so culture, ethnicity, historic ROC, modern PRC, and the CCP. How do they weave all that together?
They use a linguistic sleight of hand. Their narrative basically says, if you celebrate Lunar New Year, you are culturally Chinese. If you're culturally Chinese, you belong to the state of China.
Wow, just skipping right over the political reality.
Yep. And then they say the sole legitimate representative of that state is the CCP. So if they can convince the world that saying I'm Chinese means I submit to the PRC's rule,
then the personal nostalgia of older Taiwanese citizens is basically handed to the CCP entirely for free.
Exactly. It becomes a legal and moral justification for a takeover.
They just take a feeling of cultural nostalgia and forge it into a weapon against sovereignty. That is just wild.
It is incredibly effective, unfortunately. Which brings us to the ultimate question. What is the solution here?
Right. How do you fix this cognitive invasion?
The logical solution is decoupling. You have to separate cultural identity from political identity.
Decoupling. I like that.
You can absolutely be culturally Chinese while being politically Taiwanese.
Yes. I love this because I can totally relate to it from an American perspective. It's like the Italian-American experience.
Oh, that's a great comparison.
Right. If I go through customs in Europe, I hand them my blue American passport. I don't cross out American on my forms and write Italian just because I love making pasta. I speak a little Italian. And my grandpa was from Sicily.
Because the customs officer in London does not care about your grandpa's marinara recipe.
Exactly. They don't care at all. My cultural heritage is a deeply personal choice, and I love it. But my political identity is what keeps me secure in the global system.
It dictates the laws that protect you.
Yes. It tells me which embassy to call in an emergency. So I don't deny my Sicilian roots by identifying as American politically.
And for Taiwan, finding that exact balance is the reality of the label. A political identity that requires massive historical footnotes to explain is just a failed strategy.
It violates the 3-second rule.
Totally. Saying I am Taiwanese, culturally Chinese, politically separate is the absolute most robust defensive line Taiwan can draw.
It's clean, it's accurate, and it leaves zero room for an adversary to hijack your sovereignty.
Exactly. It shuts down the cognitive invasion completely.
Well, this has been an incredible chat, and it leaves us with a pretty provocative thought to wrap up today.
Yeah, it really makes you step back and think.
We live in a world dominated by algorithms, right? And like 280 character hot takes. In a world like that, the entity that holds the power to define a single word like China holds the power to rewrite physical borders.
Whoever owns the dictionary owns the territory.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It really makes you wonder, are there other labels in your own life or in your local politics that are being secretly redefined by someone else?
Something for everyone to mull over today.
For sure. Now, before we officially sign off, I want to be super clear about something regarding our chat on Sip and Talk today.
Yeah, this is important.
This conversation was absolutely not about criticizing or discriminating against any specific nation, group, or demographic.
Not at all.
We are simply taking an objective look at the mechanics of international communication. Our core value here will always be to prioritize independent, critical thinking.
Just looking at the reality of the geopolitical board.
Exactly. Oh, and one quick side note. Earlier, I was stumbling over the CNGPS Act and talking about semiconductor supply chains. Just a friendly reminder, we are definitely not financial advisors.
Please do not go rearranging your retirement funds based on our geopolitical analogies.
Yeah. Please don't buy stocks because of my roommate analogy.
Yeah.
Consult a professional for that.
Definitely.
All right, well, that is our time for today. Please make sure to subscribe to Sip and Talk so you don't miss our next chat.
We have some really fun topics coming down the pipeline.
We really do. And finally, we have to give a huge, energetic shout out to our good buddy, Mickey.
Yes. Mickey is the best.
You guys had to go check out his YouTube channel, Mickey to Life.
Yeah.
He has been posting some absolutely awesome travel vlogs lately.
His camera work is just getting better and better.
It really is. He captures the energy of a new city perfectly. So definitely go give him a subscribe. All right, everyone, keep thinking critically, guard your labels, and we will see you next time.
Guys.